What's up? It's Marcus Milano here with Rap Rejects, and today I'm finna show you something simple. Well, kind of simple. It's the basics in buses or auxiliaries in Logic Pro X. So let's go. Um, the first thing you want to do, of course, is you put your track up there. To record perfect tracks, you always want your beat, or I always have my beat at track one. Now, as far as treating it, if there's anything like any imperfections, like this one has like clicks and stuff in it that I don't like. Maybe it was from whenever it was rendering or converting or whatever. So I put a click on there, X clicker. But anyways, you usually want to turn your beat down to a negative 7.5 to negative 10, depending on how loud the beat is. So now the vocals, you want to record your vocals at 0. But for the sake of the video, I'll go ahead and just explain it real quick, and then we'll go into the buses. So the vocals, whenever you record your vocals, you want it to hit the highest at 7, negative 7 decibels. So you record it at 0, like how these are. But what you end up doing is you end up recording it and gaining on your audio box, preamplifier, whatever you have. You don't want it to peak past negative 7. So sweet spot, I would say negative 15 to negative 10, but highest negative 7 when you're recording. All right. So I got the dubs or the emphasis or the rhyming phrase negative 10 from the initial verse. Well, there's two different ones because of the punch ins. And then ad libs, which I have at negative 9. You always want to set your beats per minute before you even lay down the vocals. So keep that in mind as well. Beats per minute is really, really, really important. And that's where you get everything from the delay effects, all that. You get that from the beats per minute, because whenever you do the beats per minute, it synchronizes the I can't even talk, the delay effects. So let's start off. I'm not playing the beat. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to show you what it is whenever you bus. I've had numerous questions whenever it comes to busing, so I will show you how to bus. Now, there's two different ways to bus. The way I like to bus the lazy way. This is my way. So my way of busing is I usually add whatever like effects that I want within the initial vocal. Okay, so the lazy way to bus, I put all the vocals that all the effects that I want in there, and then I bust it out. Now you can send it to bus 1 and a bus 2. So I'll do, like, say for instance, bus 1, and then I'll do another one under it whenever it appears bus 2. And then I usually in bus 1 add my delay effects first, and then my reverb second. You always want to do the delay effects first, reverb second. And the reason being is if you put your delay after your reverb, it's going to sound a mess. It's not going to sound right. Just switching the two makes a big difference. So that's the lazy way, okay? You just send it to a bus 1 and a bus 2, and you put a delay effect and then a reverb effect, and then play it with, of course, whenever you're referencing it to the song. Now, the more complex way, if you don't know how to pull up your mixer, it's just X. X. That's it. Just bring it up, bring it down, X. That's it. So if you want to do it the complex way, say we'll just keep it at 0. All right. Now, what I will do is I will go ahead and do an equalizer. You want to bring out bring down the the bad frequencies. Usually bring down the bad frequencies or whatever with the first EQ. Now, you do a couple of compressors, or you do one compressor if you only have Logic Pro X. So let's just pretend that we only have Logic Pro X, okay? We'll go into a compressor. I like Studio FET. You can do, I don't have any defaults on here, but you do another equalizer to bring out, you bring up the good frequencies, you know. Do whatever, to boost up the good frequencies, whatever. Now, you can go with an exciter, whatever. Basically, you're doing vocal treatment on this to make your vocal sound right. All right. So there goes that. Now, what we're gonna be doing, instead of sending it to a stereo out.
Lord, forgive me for my sins. If I die before I wake, please let me in. You already know my story. I used to sell drugs and thought money was the glory until I found you.
Now, of course, if I took my time with this, it would not sound like this. I'm just doing this for educational purposes. So once you treat the vocals, instead of sending it to a stereo out, you're going to send it to a bus. Now, the thing about bus is, you'll see what I do. What?
Lord, forgive me for my sins. If I die before I wake, please let me in. You already know my story. I used to sell drugs and thought money was the glory until I found you.
So what I did was, this is going to be the main input that goes, and it's being rerouted into a bus or an auxiliary. And now you have the vocal treatment. Bus one, you can name it something else. We're gonna do like more vocal enhancing. So, you can add your exciter here, or if you have wave plugins, you can add like different type of Vox effects, whatever. So say for instance, we want this to be routed, and we want this to be a certain, like, first it's the EQ and the comp settings, and then you go into the enhancement of the vocals. So say for instance, we want it more along the lines of an exciter, and then we want, some vocal effects to go along with it. Or if there's some kind of tool rack, well, not tool rack, I'm sorry, if there's any type of other effects that you want on that vocals, like I like JJP vocals, we'll add that, whatever. Now, the first one, like I said before, is for the EQ and the compression. Then you send it, instead of stereo out, to bus one. Then you do enhancements of the vocals. And then what we can do is we can send it to an additional two buses. And these buses are going to be your delay, and your reverb. Now, what you do with these is, let me turn this down. I'm just going to turn it down.
Lord, forgive me for my sins. If I die before I wake, please let me in. You already know my story. I used to sell drugs and thought money was the glory until I found you. Lost so many of my people, you can see my war wounds. Pain cut deep like a harpoon. The devil been trying to tempt me, but I'm not relapsing. That's a fact, and I don't care about the money stacking. It took me a while to gain traction to the path of your passion.
So basically, buses or auxiliary, it helps free your workflow. Instead of having everything congested, which I don't care about, I like having all my effects in one channel and multiple channels. But it also saves if you don't have adequate CPU, you don't have adequate hard drive or space. This helps with the space because all you're doing is routing the vocals over. You know what I mean? Or you can do it like this. Say I want all these vocals to be sent to to this, and I want all of them to be treated at the same time. I can drag my EQ over here, my compressor over here, and then I can add my other EQ to bring up the good frequencies in this. So now, instead of having it to where I have to instead of putting all the effects on one vocal and then the next vocal, to the next vocal, you can route all of them, for instance, like the two main ones right here, right? Turn this down to negative 10.8. You can route these two main vocals that are the main vocals to this, and they get the same effects, and then they're routed in these two buses to where they get the same amount of delay and space designer effects or reverb effects. So let me change this to bus 1. Now, boom. Now you have track or audio 2 and audio 3, which are the main vocals, and they're automatically routed to this bus. They both have the same effects instead of you putting all that and congesting your memory and your CPU and everything else. So,
Lord, for like a harpoon. The devil been trying to tempt me, but I'm not relapsing. I call on Yahweh or the Lord until my lungs are collapsing. That's a fact, and I don't care about the money stacking.
we could take it a step further. So, let's turn this down a tad bit, and then now let's route this to bus 1. So you route that to the bus, everything gets the same effect.
Lord, forgive me for my sins. If I die before I wake, please let me in. You already know my story. I used to sell drugs and thought money was the glory until I.
That's easy. And then you're freeing up your workflow, you're freeing up your hard drive, your CPU. It's a way cleaner way to work. All you're doing really is adjusting once you get the vocals set in place, or you get everything set in place with how you're trying to mix. You bring it over to a bus, route it to a bus. Now your main vocals, dubs can be they can be routed to that, and boom, easy. And then it routes to the delay effects, routes to the reverb, which ultimately routes to the stereo output. Or yeah, so that's pretty much it on the logistics of busing. Now you can get crazy with it. You could do this, then bus, do this and bus. But I'm showing you the two simple ways that I like to do it, and it's easier for me to work with whenever I'm mixing. So this is Marcus Milano with Rap Rejects. I'm out.